All right, guys, so welcome back to the Nature Institute. It's Ramona here, and today I'm going to dissect an owl pellet. So the other day I made some cookies that kind of looked like owl pellets, and then today I wanted to actually dissect one and see what we can find in the pellet itself. Now, if you watched the cookie video, you'll remember that an owl pellet is kind of like owl vomit. The owl, it takes and it eats its prey whole, and then it swallows all of the whole animal, fur, bones, meat, everything all together. And then, because they can't digest the bones and the fur, they actually have to spit that part out. And they do that by compacting it in their gizzard, and then about 10 hours after eating whatever they decided to eat, they spit it back up. So that's what we have here. We have an owl pellet. It's kind of gray. I can actually see some teeth in it already, so we'll see what that ends up being. But in order to do this, of course, you need an owl pellet. You need a couple toothpicks. And if you're kind of squeamish and you don't want to touch the owl pellet, maybe grab yourself some gloves. It doesn't bother me. These ones have been sanitized, so there's nothing living in here that's going to be any issue whatsoever. And if you want to get some owl pellets, you can actually buy them from some companies online. You can get 2 or 3 or maybe up to 10 or 40. However many owl pellets you want to dissect, that's how many you can get to use. So we're just going to dive right in here and see what we can find. First, I'm just going to use my fingers and I'm going to pull our owl pellet apart a little bit. My table's a little bit wobbly, so hopefully nothing goes flying away. And you might be able to see some of the fur that's in here. You want to be a little bit careful because these bones are tiny, 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 and they can break pretty easily. So here I have about 4 or 5 different pieces. They're getting a little bit hard to tear apart now because they're just so compact. Well, I don't know what that was, but something just fell in the woods. I got quiet there for a second because I thought I was hearing an owl. I was hoping maybe you could hear it too. Alright, so let's see here. I found a little part of a skull. And we've got some arm bones that are just teeny, teeny, tiny. But you can just see this owl pellet is just chock full of all sorts of stuff. And after you've taken it all out, then you can actually rebuild the skeleton and try and figure out what kind of animal might have been inside this pellet. Ooh, here are some little bitty ribs. I find it easier just to use my fingers to pull the owl pellets apart, but of course you can use the toothpicks if you want to. And the toothpicks are really good for cleaning up what you have found. Ooh, there's a humerus. And if you know what the humerus is, that's the upper arm bone. Ooh, I've got the bottom part of the jaw. This is just amazing how many bones are in this. Ooh, there we've got a shoulder blade. and there's part of a hip. So what do you know about owls? Lots of times we think about how they can turn their heads really, really far around, right? That's pretty cool. And they have lots of bones in their neck, so they're able to twist their heads in ways that we as humans and we as mammals can't do, because they just have really, really long necks. We also know that they are birds of prey. So they're actually eating other animals, right? So they're night hunters. They have really, really big eyes. They have a great sense of hearing. So they can hear teeny tiny animals just running through the forest, and they can pinpoint exactly where they are. And they do that because their ears are actually off center. So they have one ear that's actually higher than the other. And that way they know if something is in front of them or behind them, or above them or below them. And they're just really good at pinpointing where the sounds are coming from. That's one of the adaptations that owls have. Another really cool adaptation that they have is their feathers are kind of fuzzy on the ends. They're really, really soft, and that allows them to fly silently through the air. So when they've pinpointed maybe a mouse scurrying through the leaves on the forest floor, they are then able to fly to that mouse, and that mouse has no idea that they are coming. The mouse doesn't hear them, doesn't see them, because of course it's dark outside, and that is how the owl is able to hunt its prey. Pretty cool. I think owls are really, really awesome. So I've just found a whole skull in this owl pellet. You can see the teeth there. It has both the upper and the lower jaws. And it's some sort of a rodent. It has some big, long teeth. That's pretty cool. It's broken, but it's all still kind of put together, so I'm not going to mess with it too much. So you might get to do this in school sometime, which is pretty awesome. And you'll have kind of a head start because you got to see this video and watch me do it. We also have done this during camp sometimes, which is a lot of fun. It can be a little bit messy, but pretty awesome to see what all can be found in the owl pellets. And I've pulled out a bunch of the bones, but definitely not all of them. There are still tons more in here. But in the interest of time, I think I'm going to pause for a second and let's look at some of the things that we found here. So we have a hip, so the hip attached to a femur. We have the clavicle. We have, there's our humerus, so our upper arm bone. We have some ribs here. What else? And then of course we have our skull and our rodent skull. What kind of skull it is, I have no idea. It could be a mouse, it could be a vole, it could be a lot of different things. It's really hard to tell when they're that small. But like I said, you can see just a small smattering of some of the bones that would be found in that owl pellet. So I think that you should ask Mom or Dad to maybe get you an owl pellet from Amazon or one of the other organizations that you can buy an owl pellet from, and take a few minutes and just dissect it. See what you can find. Like I said, all you need are a couple toothpicks, maybe some black paper to make things easy to see, and just the curiosity to see what you can find. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you soon. Bye.